I used two of the little shore living jars, a piece of craft wood, some battery operated candles, and two of these long shore living signs. I'm going to use the seahorse one and the anchor one. Not a big fan of the color on the anchor one because I want more of a beachy coastal feel. So we'll change the color on that one. But what we're going to do is, I'm not a big fan of the long signs, but we are going to convert them into little wall sconces, and it's turned out so cute. So I'm going to need a little shelf to put my little jar candle on. So I'm just going to cut that Dollar Tree craft wood down to size and make a cute little shelf. And since we're making two wall sconces, we're definitely going to need two. So I'm going to go ahead and cut a second one down for later. So I'm kind of trying to determine how big I want to make these, where I want to attach the shelf, because I don't want to include the entire long sign. I just want it to be long enough to make a really cute wall sconce. This DIY would be great for indoor or outdoor. I used mine indoor, but it would be great outdoor too. So I cut that long sign down to size that I thought would be a great size, and then we're going to do the same thing here with the second seahorse sign. So we have two signs the same length with those cute little cutouts in there, and two shelves that we cut out of a piece of Dollar Tree craft wood. Now, this is the one that I was not crazy about the color at all. So let's go ahead and start distressing this to make it look a little bit more coastal. I'm just starting with ivory kind of all over to cover up that like deep blue color. And I wanted to do something, beachier. So we're going to make this a lighter color of blue. So I'm going to go ahead and paint the shelf too, since I'm going to want everything on my little wall sconce to be the same color. And this is the color that I'm using. I think this is the turquoise color. Just a nice, bright, beachy blue color. And distressing all over, I kind of like that distressed vibe because it looks very coastal farmhouse. So that is what we're going to do. I'm going to do the same thing here on the little shelf that we made. And this craft wood is really thick, so it's going to provide a nice sturdy shelf, even though the sign that I'm attaching it to is, not too thick. It's one of those thin Dollar Tree signs. So it's going to need a little bit more stability. So I am going to do a wood block underneath of it. I happen to have some of these little Jenga blocks from Five Below, but you could use like any kind of a piece of wood. I just want another piece for under there, so I painted ivory and then turquoise so that it matches everything else. Now I want to decorate the bottom of this with twine, so I just glue a little Dollar Tree twine to the back of our sign and wrap that around just until I'm happy with it and glue that to the back. That's going to give it a fun coastal beachy touch with that wrapped jute underneath our little shelf. So I have the craft wood for the shelf, and then this one is going to be the brace that kind of goes under it that makes it sturdier. I attached that to our sign with hot glue right above our jute twine, and then glue the shelf on, also gluing it to the wood block underneath of it to make it nice and sturdy. So this is what we have so far. Since I am putting a glass shelf on there, even though I'm using a battery operated candle, I want it to be super sturdy. So I just take a few screws and go in the back of the sign into the wood block to make it a little bit sturdier. So that looks good. We can go ahead and reattach to the hanger that came with the sign. And now I want to start the construction of the second one the same way. This one is the seahorse cutout, and I love that like wood color. I think that really looks beachy, so I think that one's going to be fine as is. And I'm going to do the same thing that I did with the first one. We're going to wrap it with the Dollar Tree twine just a few times, securing that on the bag. And we're going to build this one the same way. Since I am not really painting it, I'm just going to leave the raw wood raw. I think it's going to be okay. I glue my little Jenga block down first and then glue my shelf on. This one was even easier to put together since I didn't have to paint anything. But you could paint it. It would be pretty if you did it like in ivory or a different shade of blue too. I'm going to display mine together as a set. So I'm going to put a couple screws in the block in the back on this side too, just to make it sturdier. Then I'm going to use like the turquoise colored Shore Living jar with the little starfish and twine on it on the wood one. I like the contrast of the blue against the wood. And to make sure it stays put, I hot glue it to the little shelf that we made. And then on the turquoise one, I'm going to use the clear Shore Living jar against the blue one and glue that in place as well. I'm just going to use battery operated candles in this to make it even safer, but they turned out so cute. Now, to start with, I thought a little sand would be good in the little candle holders. It's going to add another coastal beachy touch. Try not to get it everywhere like I did. And then pop in some battery operated candles that are going to be super easy to switch out when the batteries die in them. Aren't they cute? We have two little wall sconces using signs from the Shore Living line at Dollar Tree. And this is how they look, all lit up and hanging in my home. Now, if you want an option to substitute for those long board signs, if you can't find them, you might be able to find just the ones that don't have the cutout, or you could also use the wood shelves from the Dollar Tree. I think that would work really well too. It'd be a little thicker.